Hey guys, I'm Evan with Cypress Design Works, and this is my wife Nicole. Together we build and finish wood furniture projects. About a month ago we upgraded our HVLP sprayer to the Fuji Q5 Platinum you guys see in front of you here, and we wanted to give you some of our initial feedback and thoughts. So Nicole has really been more the one to do the finishing in our company, and she's going to have a little more technical feedback for you and a little more personal experience feedback. But I wanted to cover kind of what the system is, and then I'll pass it over to her to answer some of the kind of nuanced user-based thoughts. So the Q5 system is Fuji Spray's top-of-the-line system. The Q stands for quiet. So this system is specifically designed to be extra quiet when compared to other HVLP turbines, which is really, really noticeable when you actually have it in the shop compared to other HVLP, which is really great. That quietness allows you to have a conversation, not have to wear hearing protection. That's the biggest thing I've noticed about it is I can be in here woodworking when she's over there spraying, and it's not like an air compressor is running the whole time. It's much quieter. We can have a conversation over it, which is really, really nice. We have two of the different gun styles here. This is what's called a gravity cup, where the finish is in the bottom here, and it pressurizes that cup and it feeds upwards. The straw that's in there lets you spray at a pretty good variety of different angles, which is really nice, and this holds about 1 quart. This is called a gravity feed gun, as opposed to a bottom feed. The gravity feed, the finish is on the top, and it pressurizes, again, through this hose here. This one has a little bit less range of angles, but it's really great for spraying flat surfaces. So pros and cons to both of the different gun types, but we got both because we wanted to kind of see which one fits our finishing better and which one works.
Yeah. Traditionally we use the bottom feed, and so this is really our first time trying out the gravity feed, but there's a lot of benefits to it. One of the things I really like is you actually get to use all of the paint in the canister. A lot of the times with more traditional canisters, you end up wasting a lot of paint because the straw can't pick up what's in the very bottom of the canister. But this lets you use up every bit of paint, so it's nice.
So going back to the nomenclature of the system, the Q stands for quiet, and the 5 stands for a 5-stage turbine. So this is a 5-stage turbine HVLP. You can get to 1 stage all the way up to 5 stage. So 1 is really going to be only good for clear finishes, thinner things. With the 3 being kind of the middle of the road, you can spray thinned paints, you can spray clear finishes, and a 5 stage you can spray everything all the way up to latex paint and primer. So it depends on where your business model is, kind of where you want to land with the turbine. But the Q and the 5 stands for a 5-stage turbine, which is pretty cool. One of the other cool features about the Q5 system is that it has the variable power on the front, which with something that's this powerful, you may not think, when would I ever not want full power? But when spraying thin finishes like Chem Aqua from Sherwin-Williams or lacquers, polyurethanes, having it at full pressure is way more power than you need. So, when you're spraying paints, thicker things, you want more power, and being able to quickly dial it up and down from here is really, really handy. So again, that's a really nice feature to have on something that's got this much power. It doesn't have to be overpowered.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the thing I appreciate most about this sprayer is it is super powerful. So you can spray primers with 1 pass, and that's awesome. But with a lot of sprayers, they even have too much power for really thin finishes like what we're working with now, like tinted lacquers and stuff. So being able to turn the dial down and only be able to put out a small amount of pressure is super helpful.
Another option as well for when you're actually in the booth spraying, this isn't necessarily going to be in there. You want this to be kind of out of the booth, away from the overspray. There's also a valve on your hose that you can use it's a flow control valve, so you can use that to control and restrict the amount of airflow that's getting through. So even if you've got your turbine on full power, you can turn down the actual amount of airflow that's allowed to pass through at the actual gun, because this is what actually sits inside your dispenser, which is pretty cool.
And then there's a couple more different controls on the actual gun itself. So you can adjust the amount of power coming out from the back, and most guns have a pin like this where you can adjust that. But then instead of just being able to spray in a circle pattern or a fan pattern, this style kind of lets you go in between the two. And so that's a really nice feature. And then of course you can kind of change the direction that you're spraying with the nozzle in the front.
Yeah,
and both of these guns have that.
Another cool feature about the Q5 is it lets you set it to any angle. There's no like fixed detents. So you can spray a fan pattern both straight up and down, straight side to side, or at an angle. So again, you might think, when would I ever do that? But when you're spraying things like angled brackets or angled supports on a piece of furniture like we do a lot, being able to go at any different angle means that we can hold the gun in a traditional, comfortable way and spray where that fan pattern is going to match up with the furniture, which is really handy. Another personal thing I really like about the Q5 handle is it's super comfortable. This is one of the more comfortable handles I've held in HVLP. It's really designed to be ergonomic and comfortable. The trigger fits in the right spot, and it's well balanced where it doesn't feel like it's pulling me over. Just the way that your hands can actually grab it, the hoses are routed really well. They clearly put a lot of thought into making this a comfortable sprayer to use, because the reality is Nicole's in our booth for sometimes 2 or 3 hours in a row spraying multiple pieces back to back. As we've gone into some of the quicker drying finishes, she's oftentimes, by the time she finishes her first coat on everything that's in her booth, she's already circling back and going to the second coat. So she's in there for hours at a time, and ergonomics really come into play when you're in the booth for that long. So that's definitely a big pro. And again, circling back to the different adjustments that are on the actual gun, really smooth adjustments is really nice, because it's really hard to fine tune when these adjustments aren't really nice and silky smooth, and being able to fine tune it to exactly the fan pattern you want, exactly the amount of trigger pull you want, is really helpful to narrow down that perfect finish, because you spend a lot of time building a piece of furniture. The last thing you want to do is put too much or too little finish and have to go back and refinish it. So being able to get the gun set up to exactly how you want it is something that's really nice to keep. So let's talk about the main hose first. So this is something that I really liked about the Q5. The main hose that comes out of the actual turbine is extremely heavy duty. It's an over molded hose, clearly meant to be really durable in an industrial setting, which is great, because we take care of our tools, but we don't baby them.
And honestly, I step and trip over my hose all the time, and I don't have to worry about cracking it like it's a hard plastic, because it's that's a nice material.
So, but with that, you get a little bit of rigidness. So the original hose that comes with it is extremely durable, but it's a little bit more rigid. So when you're spraying things like a tabletop, that's really not a problem. But when you're spraying inside of a cabinet or at the bottom of a piece of furniture and you need to twist, this hose isn't as flexible as you'd like. So what they've come out with is what's called a whip, which is a 6-foot extra hose that you literally just thread onto the end of their standard hose. And this hose is a thinner diameter, and it's convoluted, so it's got extra flexibility. So this allows you to really kind of twist the hose as you need to, which is a great addition to their standard hose. That's another thing I've noticed about the Q5 and Fuji systems in general. There is a ton of accessories. They've got a really, really nice cleaning kit you can buy. They've got a ton of different cup sizes and cleaning tools, different jigs you can get, things that really take the system and build it around the type of things that you do, which is really cool. They've got a variety of needles and caps that you can get for different finishes, and a much smaller increment than we're used to. So you can fine tune the finish to the gun, which is really nice. So let's get down to what really matters, people that are spraying furniture or whatever you're using HVLP for, and that is, how's the finish quality? How good is it at atomizing? How ergonomic is it in your opinion? What do you notice of the actual quality of the finish? Because at the end of the day, that's what we really care about. Is it going to put down a good quality finish? What is your first impression? I know we haven't had it that long, but you've done a few projects with it. So what are your first thoughts on the quality?
So far, so good. I've really enjoyed spraying with this so far. It's a super comfortable gun to use, like Evan said, and it puts down like a good atomization of the finish. We get a nice smooth coat with the first pass, which is really nice, and that goes back to just saying like how much power this machine has. And so we haven't really gotten to use like all of our different types of finishes. We kind of got the gun at an awkward time because we just ended up switching the different types of finish that we use. So I haven't got to see it with everything, but we'll give you guys a more update to review, I guess, a more up-to-date review as time goes on. But so far, I've really enjoyed spraying with both types of guns and this Fuji Q5 sprayer.
So just to disclose, Fuji did provide us the sprayer for free in exchange for this type of content. We were doing spraying content for the past 2 years, which made Fuji a great partner for us, because we got a great system out of it, and in return for that, we're going to tag them in posts in the future. If you enjoyed this video, we'd appreciate it if you guys can like, comment, and subscribe to support our channel. Thanks.